I don't know if I want to call it my dream, but something that I wanted to do. He basically said to me, you can't do this. You can't do this. You shouldn't do this. It's interesting to hear what motivates successful people. There's usually a story there. I don't think most people are born that way. I mean, there are type A personalities, but normally there are events that shape a person. And so, I've been asked what drives me. And I think it all goes back to a physical challenge that I've got. It's a nerve condition called CMT, and it impacts the muscles because the nerve sensation doesn't make it all the way to some muscles. Just think of it like a bad telephone signal. And so some muscles get stronger than others, and as a result, other muscles atrophy, and then it mainly impacts hands and feet. So my hands are fine, but with my feet, they started to become imbalanced because of the weakness with certain muscles in my ankles and calves. Through the process of analyzing the situation, I spent time with the surgeon or the doctor at Newington Children's Hospital in Connecticut at the time. It's now, I think, Connecticut Children's Medical Center or something along those lines. We determined that I had this condition, but I had always wanted to participate in the wrestling program at my high school and in the junior program. And I just didn't have the physical attributes of an athlete, and this was going to be an aggravating factor, not having good feet and the kind of muscle strength and balance and coordination. But that didn't stop me. I really wanted to do it. And so I'm sitting there talking to the surgeon, and I said to him, look, I know I've got this condition and all, but I really want to join the junior program wrestling because I'd like to wrestle in high school, and so I'd like to do that for 2 years prior. What do you think? And he says to me, have you ever considered playing chess? That was it for me. He just stomped on what I don't know if I want to call it my dream, but something that I wanted to do. He basically said to me, you can't do this. You can't do this. You shouldn't do this. Maybe you should go play chess. And that was it for me. I saw red. I remember sitting there and having F-bombs screaming in my head. I didn't say it to him because my mom's right next to me and having respect for a doctor and whatnot. But I was mad. And so I bottled it up. I still did the junior program, and I joined the high school program too. And nobody thought I'd last 2 weeks. And I lasted 4 years. And I did well. I didn't win a majority of my matches, but it didn't matter. It wasn't about that. It was about conquering whatever those limitations were. I didn't like the fact that people were deciding for me what I can and cannot do, and that I was to just throw up the white flag and live within those boundaries. And that became a habit. And I'd say a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. Now I'm, all that discipline, all that hard work, it pays off, and you end up being successful as a result. And some people never let go of that chip. Me, I found peace. I've been under the knife 7 times with my feet. I'm now on my fourth surgeon. There was 2 in Connecticut, and then there was one who died of a heart attack out here in LA. And so I'm on my 4th surgeon, and he thinks I'm nuts. But he understands that that's just how I am now. It's habit. And he said, look, if we're ever going to go into a war, I want to be in the foxhole with you. But for me, it's just I like conquering that which is said cannot be done. And so if people tell me I can't do something, that definitely motivates me. But, now that I'm 40 and I'm happy and I'm happily married. I don't have much of a chip on my shoulder, but the drive, that motivation, that desire to conquer, it's habit now, and so that's what drives me. And so I use that as my kind of my motivation. But I'll never forget that moment when somebody told me it can't be done, and I hate it when people give up too easy. There's nothing that pisses me off more than people who quit too easily, because it can be done. Maybe it shouldn't be done. Maybe it'll be hard, but you keep pushing. And you also have to recognize when sometimes something's just not working, but the drive to succeed and to evolve and to get from wherever you're at to a successful place, you never want to lose that fire. And that's, for me, what drives me, and I'm sure everybody else has that story. So you find something that you can grasp onto, that you can use as your rallying cry in those moments when you doubt yourself, because it'll sustain you through the tough times, because there will be tough times. And hopefully you can push through and break out through to the other side.